The dining room of the Cross family estate had never been so quiet. My father's voice, normally booming, absolute, cracked through the phone. The food never came. Around the long, linen-draped table, 20 relatives sat frozen before empty plates. The golden centerpiece gleamed under the chandelier, a cruel ornament for a celebration that wasn't happening. Across the table, Aunt Carla lifted her head, eyes darting. I could almost see the moment it hit her. I was 300 miles away in my Asheville apartment, leaning against my kitchen island, cider in hand. "Oh," I said calmly, "I assumed you didn't need anything from me." Silence. Thick, awkward, heavy. Then the murmurs began. My mother's voice floated faintly through the phone. "What does she mean by that?" Confusion slid into panic. The same family that didn't want me at the table had no problem enjoying the catering bill I'd paid weeks earlier. I'm Melanie Cross, 38, the eldest daughter turned errand runner, emotional buffer, and private bank account. Thanksgiving had always been sacred in our family, not for warmth, but for performance. A polished display of togetherness stretched thin over years of favoritism and unspoken resentment. Growing up in Raleigh, I wasn't a child, I was staff. My younger siblings were cherished. I handled carpools, patched scraped knees, checked homework. When I left for college, I believed I'd finally earned a seat as an equal. I hadn't. The betrayal came a week before Thanksgiving 2024. My aunt posted a cheerful "can't wait to see everyone" in the family group chat. I replied, "Same here, looking forward to it." Nothing. Hours later, my cousin texted privately. "Wait, are you actually coming? Your parents told everyone you weren't invited this year." My chest tightened. I called my mother, confused. She danced around the truth before finally admitting, "We're keeping it small, just immediate family." "I am immediate family," I said, disbelief sharpening my voice. She sighed. "We just thought it would be easier, less tension." There hadn't been tension, unless you counted me saying no to paying for my brother's car repair, or refusing to clean up my sister's wedding debt. I checked. Everyone else had been invited. Siblings, spouses, even distant cousins. Just not me. Still, they hadn't forgotten my wallet. Only later did it click. Dad had asked me to chip in for the meal. I hadn't chipped in, I'd paid for everything. The turkey, the sides, the desserts. I'd placed the orders myself. Maple Pine, the boutique butcher my mother adored. Sweet Laurel Bakery, the one she swore made the best pumpkin cheesecake in the state. Every receipt was in my name. They hadn't just excluded me. They'd used me. I made 2 phone calls. The butcher refunded me without hesitation. The bakery resisted until I forwarded the receipt. Then I waited. Thanksgiving Day, 12:17 p.m. My phone buzzed. Dad. I let it ring 4 times. "The food never came," he said, panic edging his words. Behind him, whispers, sharp voices, my mother rising in pitch. I tilted my head. "Oh, maybe check with whoever placed the order." "You placed the order," he snapped. "Did I?" I paused, letting the silence stretch. "I didn't think you needed anything from me." "You never responded." An hour later, my cousin sent a play-by-play. No turkey, no desserts, every store within miles, closed or wiped out. My sister's new boyfriend watched her cry in the guest room. My mother locked herself in the bathroom. Dad sat silent while Uncle Ron finally asked, loud enough for everyone to hear, "Wasn't Melanie bringing the turkey?" The room went still. Then the whispering started. 3 days later, Mom texted the family group chat. "We really missed you at Thanksgiving. Hope we can move past this." Not an apology, a broom. I said nothing. Aunt Carla called the next day. "A lot of us confronted your parents," she said quietly. "They needed to hear it." Mom didn't appreciate consequences. By week's end, a new story circulated. I was unstable, dramatic. I'd sabotaged Thanksgiving on purpose. Dad called twice before I answered. "I don't know what you were trying to prove," he said tightly, "but you embarrassed your mother." I laughed, sharp and humorless. "Funny, I thought she didn't want me there." He sighed theatrically. "We made a mistake, but what you did was low. Lower than uninviting your daughter after she paid for the meal?" My voice rose. You should have said something. You're being dramatic, he said. It wasn't that big a deal. My pulse pounded. Then why are you calling me about it, Dad? I hung up, hands shaking. That night, my cousin Riley texted. You officially started a war. Christmas loomed. I had no intention of going until Aunt Carla called again. She's telling everyone you're too fragile to be around family, she said carefully, that you're avoiding Christmas because you can't handle conflict. Your dad says he tried to fix it, but you're being stubborn. I tightened my grip on the phone. Oh no. They weren't rewriting my story. Christmas Eve, 2024. I arrived late, on purpose. The house fell silent the moment I stepped inside. My mother froze. My father stopped mid-sip. My sister stared like she'd seen a ghost. Hey, I said lightly, sliding off my scarf. Merry Christmas. Oh, my mother managed. You came. Of course, I smiled. Wouldn't miss it. Then I stepped aside and revealed my guest. My grandmother. My mother's face drained of color. Years ago, their fallout had been so severe my mom tried to erase her from our lives, but I never did. When Grandma heard about Thanksgiving, she was furious. When I asked if she wanted to come to Christmas dinner, she didn't hesitate. Oh my, Grandma said, stepping inside with exaggerated wonder. It's been ages since I've been here. What lovely decorations, dear. My mother looked like she might faint. Dinner was tense perfection. Grandma picked up her fork, studied the stuffing, and said brightly, oh, is this store-bought? Very consistent. I bit the inside of my cheek to keep from laughing. A week later, strange messages began trickling in from cousins and extended relatives. Heard there was a misunderstanding. You okay? Others were sharper. Didn't think you had it in you to be that cruel. Aunt Carla finally clued me in. Your mom's telling everyone you had some kind of breakdown. She sighed. That you're unstable. That what you did at Christmas proved it. I laughed, bitter, incredulous, unbelievable. Yes, but not surprising. If my mother had taught me anything, it was that truth terrifies those who rely on control. The realization hit like a gut punch. My mother wasn't embarrassed, she was threatened. I'd exposed her, and now she was rewriting history to paint me as unstable. If she could discredit me, she wouldn't have to face the truth. She wouldn't have to be wrong. I called Grandma. She didn't sugarcoat it. Unfortunately, she sighed. Your mother's been calling around, saying she's worried about you, that you're not well. I laughed, sharp and cold. You know that's not true, right? My dear, she said firmly. I knew it wasn't true before she even opened her mouth. That night, I sat on my couch, the Christmas tree glowing softly behind me, and typed a message to the family group chat. Hey everyone, just wanted to clear up some confusion. I'm doing great. No breakdowns, no drama. It's been an interesting holiday season, but I'm genuinely in a good place. Hope you all are too. Wishing everyone a happy new year. Short, neutral, impossible to twist. Digital proof that my mother's lies had gone up in smoke. Then something unexpected happened. My brother Ethan texted. Hey, can we talk? We hadn't spoken in months. I called immediately, heart hammering. His voice came through uncertain, softer than I remembered. Look, I don't agree with what Mom did. I blinked. You don't? She's really good at twisting things, he admitted. Thanksgiving felt off. But Christmas, that was when it clicked. I stayed quiet, letting him speak. I didn't say anything, he added, because, you know how she gets. Yeah, I said softly, I know. He paused. I'm not saying I handled it right, but I don't think you're crazy, not even close. My throat tightened. I hadn't realized how much I needed to hear that until the tears threatened. Something had shifted. First Carla, then Grandma. Now Ethan. My mother's grip was loosening. 2 weeks later, my phone rang. I almost ignored it, but curiosity, old wounds, and the need to confront pushed me to answer. Hello. Her voice was cold. We need to talk in person. About what? A pause. Your little stunt humiliated me. Not hurt me. Not let's discuss it. Just humiliated her. Still all about appearances. Sunday dinner. 6 o'clock. She clipped. Your father and I expect you here." Then she hung up. I almost didn't go, but Aunt Carla called. "Just hear them out," she urged. "You don't have to forgive them, but make them say it to your face." Sunday evening. I arrived at my parents' house. The tension hit immediately, almost physical. Dad stood stiffly at the end of the table, hands clasped too tightly. Mom perched at the head like a judge awaiting trial, arms crossed, eyes sharp. My sister buried her face in her phone. Ethan hovered nervously at the edge of his seat. Mom exhaled. "Do you have any idea what you've done?" I tilted my head. Which part? Canceling the turkey, bringing Grandma to Christmas, or the fact that people stopped believing your story? "You're so dramatic," she spat. Dad stepped in, voice low but tight. "Your mother's hurt, and you've done nothing but make her look bad." "She made herself look bad," I said evenly. "I just stopped covering for her." Mom's face flushed, red creeping across her cheeks like slow fire. "The truth?" she hissed. "You mean your version of events? Because in mine, you abandoned your family, clung to the past, and took revenge over a simple misunderstanding." I stood. The word cracked through the air. "You didn't invite me. You let me pay for the food and then pretended I didn't exist." "We never meant to exclude you," she snapped. "We just thought it would be easier, less tension, and then you made it worse. You told people I was unstable. You tried to destroy my credibility. You embarrassed me," she shot back, "in front of everyone." And then Ethan spoke. "Mom," he said quietly, but firmly, "you did exclude her. You told everyone she wasn't coming. You let her pay for everything. That was wrong." Her eyes flashed toward him. "Oh, don't you start too." But he didn't back down. "No, you crossed the line. You always do when you feel cornered." Dad shifted uneasily. We should have handled it differently." Mom narrowed her eyes. "What does that mean?" He hesitated. "Maybe she has a point." The room stilled. I wasn't done. "You didn't just leave me out," I said evenly. "You tried to paint me as unstable. You called relatives and said I was having a breakdown." "Why, Mom?" And then she said it. "Because I was embarrassed." Silence fell. Her lips parted, like the truth had finally caught her off guard. I didn't know what to say when people asked. It snowballed. I didn't want to be the villain. "So you made me the villain?" I said quietly. She didn't answer. And beside her, for the first time, I saw my father look at her like he didn't recognize the woman sitting at the head of the table. Ethan's jaw clenched. Across from me, my sister muttered under her breath, "Wow." The lies, the manipulation, the selfishness, all of it laid bare, undeniable. For the first time, I saw my mother clearly, not an untouchable matriarch, not some all-powerful force, just a woman so terrified of being wrong that she would rather destroy her own daughter than admit it. I stood. "I'm done," I said, steady, certain. "I don't need an apology because I don't think you're capable of giving a real one. But I do need you to understand, I'm done." My mother flinched. "Wait, no. You don't get to walk away like that." "You did this," I said firmly. "You shut me out. And when people noticed, you rewrote the story. You made me the villain because you couldn't handle the truth." Her lips parted again, but no words came. I turned to my father. "I appreciate that you tried, but you let it happen, and that hurt too." He had no answer. He just stared at his folded hands. I looked to my siblings. "My fault," my sister admitted softly. "I should have said something sooner." Ethan nodded quietly. "Me too." It didn't fix everything, but it mattered. In the weeks that followed, I created distance. Mom sent shallow texts. "Can we move past this?" Left on read. Aunt Carla checked in constantly. Grandma sent a handwritten letter full of warmth, praising me for standing up for myself. But the real surprise came from Ethan. One evening in mid-January, he texted, "Want to grab coffee?" We met at a quiet cafe in West Asheville. We talked for nearly 3 hours. "I think I spent so long trying to keep the peace," he said. "I didn't realize how much damage she was doing." "Yeah," I said quietly, "I get it." And in that moment, I realized something important. I wasn't alone anymore. If you've ever been the scapegoat in your own family, the one who sees the dysfunction while everyone else clings to the illusion, you know the hollow ache, the constant self-doubt, the heartbreak of being told you're the problem for setting boundaries. You've heard it. That never happened. You're too sensitive. Stop making everything about you. Standing up isn't easy. It's terrifying. Sometimes, the most powerful thing you can do isn't forgive. It's refuse to play your assigned role. The empty chair at their next Thanksgiving table? That won't be my shame. That will be my peace. And maybe, just maybe, that's the beginning of a life where I finally choose myself.